Bonjour mes amis, hi guys. Well, it's that time of the year when we look back and look forward at the same time. I hope you've had a good year and I hope you're spending these last days of it with your loved ones. So let's go through my watch box. I have a box for the Seicos and a box for, well, all the rest, a bit more luxurious box. So let me insert first the Seiko section, and then we come back to these puppies. So I still have a few Seikos, nothing crazy, but many of them are discontinued and hard to find. I just enjoy collecting them. This is the Saab 033, the black version, and the 35, the cream version. Great everyday watches. And then the cheeky 50 Fathoms homage, the Blancpain classic diver with that great bezel, and I've put it on a matching NATO here. Very enjoyable watch, not very expensive, but properly made. And then this is the Datejust homage. I had 3 versions of it. I kept the one in 2-tone with the champagne dial. Harder to find actually than the actual Rolex. Next to it, what I call the Explotilus for obvious reasons, same movement. Kind of pinches my hair with that cheap bracelet, but it's a very sleek watch. Also sleek is this IWC Engineer homage. Very hard to find. I've only ever found one. Same movement again, and cool textures on this dial. Then I have the 2SKX. I had the black one in the past, and I just got the Pepsi one right before it got discontinued. Here it is, mint on the rubber bracelet. Very good looking watch, actual divers. And the black one, I have it on the Jubilee Jingly Jangly bracelet, of course. I've used it quite a bit, but it's still holding up well. And then one of my favorite Prospex divers, the Samurai. I love this Pepsi version with a great dial. Aesthetic is perfect on this one. The crown, the hands, the indices. Very enjoyable watch. And then a quartz here, the Flightmaster, my little gateway watch to the Breitling world. I don't have a Breitling yet, but maybe one day I'll grab one. And another quartz, I used to wear this watch. That was my only watch for a few years. It's a Premiere chronograph with an alarm. It was kind of cool. I like this sector dial, very funky. And I got it on this NATO because the bracelet is quite damaged. And I have 2 more watches that are not in my box. I'm looking forward to see the new version of the Alpinist in the Prospex lineup now. But this is the outgoing version with a green dial, great watch, you know, good water resistance, sapphire crystal. Really, you get a lot. You used to get a lot bang for your buck with this watch. And then another of my favorite divers, the Mini Turtle with the Paddy Wave dial, a Cyclops. Also, I love the whole aesthetic of this watch, like the Samurai, and I tend to take it when I go on holiday. So this is a very lovely little watch, and I encourage you to pick one up. I think it's much better than the SKX. That does it for Seiko. Let's go back to the other box. And now, the meat after the Seiko potatoes. Here we're gonna have 4 chronographs. I'm running out of space. Some vintage reissues. Well, many of these watches kind of have a vintage vibe. Obviously, some of them have been in production for many years. Some of them have evolved, but you can still tell where they came from. Some are quite unique pieces, and some even remind us of the pocket watch era. And there's a couple of watches that could be your only watch. So let's start with maybe the most simple, maybe the best watch, the 39mm current version of the Rolex Explorer. You know, if you only had to have one watch, probably it should be a Rolex. And if it was this Rolex, well, you wouldn't be doing wrong, right? It is absolutely stunning on the wrist. I like that the bezel, you know, is nicely polished, so it can lend itself to more dressed occasions and obviously for the office. At the same time, you just keep it on at night with a great lume, and for the weekend, And the easy link is something I use a lot personally. It's really adjusted perfectly in both positions, closed and open for me. And I've been enjoying the watch so much since I've had it, and I will probably never sell it. I've had this one for about a year and a half now, and really fantastic. And next to it is the older version, the 40mm, almost vintage now, Explorer 2 with the polar dial. This one is from around 2005, and I wanted one of the more modern, one of the latest ones, just to have a functional loom. Although the previous one, you know, with the faded loom are fetching some premium, I kind of like to use my watches at night. So this is a fantastic watch. It's running great. You know, the new ones are really incredibly accurate. Like this Milgauss, will come to it. It was running like right on time for weeks. And but the Explorer 2 here had been serviced before I got it. It's all original, with never been polished, so it has quite a few scratches. So I'm never worried about wearing it. Although it's gaining in value, I don't care. I'm enjoying it because, as I said, there's many scratches on it. And yeah, very functional loom, and the accuracy is around +3, +4 seconds a day, which is what you would expect from these earlier models before the superlative chronometer became the norm at Rolex. So yeah, Explorer 1, Explorer 2, what a great combo right here. You could just have that. It would be funny if they made a blue one actually. And I like the current version of the Explorer 2, the 42mm. I like it in black. I think the white one is a bit too much white. When you go from 40 to 42, you kind of lose a bit of that of the look that seems to please everyone. That 40mm size, 3940, seems to be the right spot for a watch. Beyond that, there's a bit too much space on the dial for many designs. But the black one, the current one with the orange hand, is almost like a perfect watch, and reminds me, right here behind I have a magazine open. Reminds me a bit more of the old ones. It would be great if they were doing a new version with the a similar bezel as these ones, which are fetching now very high prices. Well, let's stay with Rolex. Two other stunners here. The Milgauss, as I was just mentioning, a bit more polished and a thicker case on this one because, as you know, the movement is protected by a soft iron cage to add resistance to magnetic fields. But of course, now with the new silicone technology, the watch is a lot more protected than the early Milgauss models, which only relied on that cage. So this one is almost as resistant as the famous Omega modern calibers. Here we have 38.5mm Aquaterra. Fantastic watch and quite comparable. Both have those polished center links, polished bezels, fairly similar in thickness. Probably the Rolex a bit thicker. The Aquaterra hides the thickness quite well, but as you can see here, it has great AR coating. The advantage of the Aquaterra is that it has a date for those who like it. Others prefer the simplicity of a no date. You know, it's great to, you pick it up, put it on, don't need to worry too much about the date problem. But the advantage of the Aquaterra is that it has a travel time function. So I just flew to Thailand, and when I came back, you know, there's an hour difference. So it's a bit trickier here because you have to stop the watch. I had my seat well around, and I had to stop the watch. While here you can just let the watch run and just change the hour. It's really convenient. So if you travel a lot, you can't do much better than this Aquaterra. Whether you like the smaller version like this or the 41mm version in black or white, or the new version with the horizontal motifs on the dials, they're all great. Daniel Craig wore one in his third James Bond movie. Slightly different from this one. It had a little a little window around the date. Here it was omitted in this later version, which I prefer. I feel it's a bit cleaner, a bit more discreet, a bit less old-fashioned, I would say. And this watch is running very good as well, but not as accurately as my Rolex is. Maybe it could use a bit of service, but otherwise the crown is great, very soft, and you have the advantage of a display case back, which and the AR coating, as I mentioned, and a travel time. I mean, it's a lot. That Omega packs a lot. The only trade-off is that it's beating at a slightly slower rate, 25,200 beats per hour. And it doesn't have any glide lock as you have on the divers here, or easy link as you have on the Milgauss and the Explorer. So the Milgauss is a bit of a heavier watch, a bit more top heavy, but you'll forgive it because it's such a stunning dial. It's so funky with that green crystal and the orange hand. I really love it. It's a very stunning watch, extremely accurate. And you know, you can have the coaxial, master, whatever you want with Omega, but Rolex are just the masters of accuracy and reliability. And the lume is great as well on this one. You know, it looks a bit the white indices look a bit more lime colored, which is very cool because of that green crystal. And it's a very funky watch, definitely a keeper. And because I got this after my Air King, I kind of had to let the Air King go to release some funds because I wanted to do other purchases. Maybe I'll get the Air King back someday because it is also a very special watch, very beautiful. But I feel like the Milgauss is a bit more special to me. And I mean, in the Rolex catalog, it's really something different. Then of course I have my Sea Dweller 4000. So this one only produced for 3 short years. The new version is much bigger at 43 millimeters, which even for a big guy is gonna feel top heavy. So I really love this one. It's very slinky, doesn't have the Cyclops, so you have the advantage of the date, but the symmetry is kept quite neat. Performs great. So I just had it for the whole weekend in Thailand there, and when I came back, it was still running within 1 second of the atomic clock time. I use and abuse the glide lock, and this bezel is just the best feel, you know, when you turn that bezel. I absolutely love this watch. And you know, the only problem of it is that because they only produced it, and that's also why I bought it, it was only produced for a short time, and it's very elegant, and at the same time it's an incredible piece of machinery. It's gonna be sought after, and then not gonna be that many on the market, so the value is deemed to remain. And it's a problem in the sense that I don't want to babysit it. I really want to wear it and enjoy it. And you know, the way they make them now with the ceramic and fairly thick cases, you can polish it quite a few times before you run out of lugs, unlike the old watches, which had much slinkier lugs. But yeah, if you want to really keep the value of your investment, you're not supposed to wear it really and damage it. But you know, I'm just glad to have it. I'm gonna wear it, and I do wear it, and I enjoy it. But I gotta say, when I go play at the pool, I put on my Seiko still. But this one is great at night, and the lume is fantastic, fantastic companion. If I had to have just one watch, kind of have to have a watch that can take a knock. So could be this one, could be that one, or you can go funky. Nothing wrong with the Milgauss or this one. It was my first Rolex, and I don't think I'll ever sell it. Apparently prices are going up on this one because it's very thin. It wears much better than many other than the GMT Master 2s, which have the same movement. And people are just waking up to the fact that it's a very special offering and much easier to use because there's no rotating bezel. Nobody understands how to use it because we're not pilots. All right, so that was the Rolex section. Let's stay with the blue because it's just so beautiful, and we can compare the blue. So I have 3 watches. I think I talked enough about the Aquaterra. It's a fan favorite. The only thing I don't like is the absence of an adjustment on the clasp and the absence of loom on the long portion of the minute hand. You see the loom is only on that arrow at the very top. So at night it can easily disappear over one of the indices, and the loom on the hour hand is also very, very small. So, and they keep on doing that even on the divers. I don't know what the problem is with the Omega people. Why do you have to put so little loom on the most important part of the watch, the hour and the minute hand, especially the minutes on the divers? On this one, you can forgive it, not to have as much loom as a diver, as long as the hour hand is properly loomed. But even the hour hand, you know, it's easy to see it disappear there. Otherwise, you know, as a first luxury watch, my first one was this one, the Omega Speedy Racing Panda dial. Lovely, lovely little watch, which I prefer on the rubber band. I don't think it looks as good, as interesting on the steel bracelet. Everybody says always buy the steel bracelet, but you know, these rubber bands are very durable, very beautiful, and it pops better with it. So yeah, after that I got the Aquaterra. So it's a great, very complementary, both very modern, both with silicone technology, coaxial, blah blah blah, good power reserve, excellent watches. And then all right, one more blue dial, the Maurice Lacroix Icon. As I said before, I just love it. It fits me perfectly. Some people are gonna say, oh, it's a Me Too watch, whatever, it looks like this, looks like that. I just love the way it looks, and it incredibly well tight and well made, durable, very comfortable, very shiny. I hate the crown action because it's a Sellita, you know, unless it's reworked, the Sellita and the ETA 2824 and the Sellita clones are just awful crowns. Same on the Longines. You never want to use that crown, it's horrible. But apart from that, the date, you know, clicks in at midnight, never had any issue. It's very accurate, not as accurate as the Longines, which is incredibly well, not just regulated, but adjusted, because it takes a regulation like you wouldn't believe. If you've seen my previous video about the time grapher, that Longines in different positions is within -2, +2. I mean, often running at 0. Very, very impressive there, and very simple without the date. Here you have the advantage of the date, and it's a great daily watch. You can go in the water with it. 200 meters of water resistance. That's quite impressive. You gotta admit, and probably tougher than the Royal Oak. So I always encourage you to try it on, because in person, I dare anyone not agreeing that it's a beautiful watch. So the black one will wear a bit smaller. That's what black dials tend to do. The white one will look bigger on the wrist, and I went for the blue one because it has that lovely, it's not real tapisserie, but it's like that kind of effect, a lot more like little pyramids on the dial. And I think the indices are well placed, well fashioned, and I like very much the loom at night. Quite similar to a moon watch, actually. So yeah, that's the Maurice Lacroix Icon, and I think it comes in a smaller version as well now. So do check that out. This one at 41 millimeters is perfect for my 6 and 3/4 inch wrist, so 17 centimeters. If your wrist is smaller, it might be a bit too much, because those integrated bracelet constructions tend to wear a bit big. Let's go back to that little lovely little Omega Speedmaster Racing. I was about to sell it, but as I've mentioned before, it has so many. It's a great first luxury watch, so hopefully my kids will be interested in watches too. My son is already enjoying watches very much, and so I'm just gonna keep it. What's the point selling it? It's not worth that much money. But once I put it on sale, actually, I had many offers for it. So you can buy it for cheap on the second-hand market, and even on the gray market. I would go gray market, get it brand new. If you like this watch, choose the color you like, blue, red. You know, good power reserve, the date, coaxial, column wheel, chronograph, and a good look. I think Omega really did well on this one. It's a great complement to the more classic Moon watch. This is the current version of the Moon watch. Got it 2 years ago. I had it 2 years ago for my birthday, and I absolutely love the way it wears. That bracelet, to me, it's like silk, and I don't care that it doesn't have any adjustment. It feels fantastic. You might have seen Guy from the Just Blue Fish channel complaining about how this one and this one, the Explorer, wear. I just don't get. We have the same size, wrist size, but obviously the different shape. This is my wrist, pretty flat on top. Maybe his wrist is a bit different. I'm very tall, fairly. I wouldn't say skinny, but I'm not too fat. So to me, these watches wear amazingly. So I don't know why he felt that they needed different clasp, or why he sold his Explorer. But to me, this one, it can be only watch, you know. I mean, who's gonna tell you you're wrong with a Speedmaster on? Doesn't matter if the guy next to you has a Patek. You got a Speedmaster. That one can go to the moon. Boom. Beautiful watch. And as I sold my Air King, I don't really have a pilot's watch anymore. So that's like the ultimate pilot's watch. And I really enjoy it. No matter what Speedmaster you have, it's always a great watch. I'll never sell that, obviously. Next to it, I just mentioned it, the Longines. Very faithful to the original design. They have a bit of the faux patina loom, but it's okay. And it's actually 300 meter water resistant, so that's quite a lot. It's a solid case back with a nice engraving. Yeah, I don't like the crown. I mean, the crown is beautiful. It's well fashioned. I think every detail of the watch is really beautifully made. Absolutely lovely watch with great distortion there on the boxed sapphire crystal, and you got the inner bezel. But yeah, as much as the crown action is not very pleasant, the accuracy is fantastic. So this is the no date version. It's discontinued, and it has risen in price. And again, a watch that I did consider selling, but what's the point selling it? I can make a little money on it, but I could never replace it. And it's cool to have a bit of a vintage diver next to the more modern diver. Although, you know, this Sea Dweller looks a lot, has the same DNA as the original one from the 50s. And yeah, 2 Zenith chronographs. So that's my Chronomaster with a full calendar. It's a COSC certified. I had it serviced. I have it here on a handmade Cordovan strap with a blue and a red stitching. Very funky, very cool. You get the moon phase, the date. What I like is that you have these little apertures, so it makes the day and the month and the date very easy to read. It's a bit harder actually on my annual calendar here. And high beat chronograph, of course, the classic El Primero. And this one is not very decorated. It has a display case back, but this one has really the great vibe. It's 38 or 29 millimeters, so it's a smaller watch with those steps on the case that follow through on those big lugs. And yeah, it got a bit of that Patek 5270 look, and very, very lovely. There's no loom on it, but it catches the light very well, as you can see here. And next to it, something I didn't plan to pick up, but it was put in front of me and I had to have it, I suppose. I don't have my Reverso anymore. I kind of miss it, but my buddy who bought it from me is enjoying it very much. So here I have this reissue, the 8384 Revival. It's the original design of the El Primero, one of the original designs, and the movement has been beautifully finished with a heat-blued column wheel. Very, very, very lovely there. Much nicer to look at than the Chronomaster. And just have the date with the panda dial. So it's interesting tonal shape with those sharp angles, and on the sides very different looking, a bit more of a like an old early 70s or late 60s car. Very cool design. It really brings you back to 1969, the original year. You have that cool red seconds hand, beautiful sweep. Of course, it's the same high beat movement. Good accuracy on those two watches, and loom on this one. So very cool watch. It's very thin from left to right, 37 millimeters, but the wingspan is not bad. The lug to lug is 47. So interesting watch. Wears very, very different from everything else in my collection. So it's always cool to have one watch with a different shape. And maybe someday I'll get another Reverso. I'd love to pick up the red dial that they just discontinued. And for now, this is gonna be my my watch with a different shape. And I think many guys are very interested by this new release from Zenith. Zenith has lots of great releases recently, and great technologies as well. All right, 2 watches left in this box. This is the Jaeger LeCoultre JLC Memovox. So it's an alarm international because it has that disc at the center with all 24-hour locations, and so it rotates as it's the alarm, as you said, the alarm. It's not really a world time, but kind of has a bit of that world time look in a funky way. And this is the rose gold version, very rare, only 250 made. I think 2013, I want to say. It has a date, 1269. Everything you see that shines is rose gold. So very warm color. It's a bit of a tuxedo watch on this leather strap, which is made for JLC. It has a double deploy clasp. It's worth showing it. Also made of gold, of the matching rose gold. I'm tempted to see how it would look like on a slightly more casual strap, because like this, it's very tuxedo-ish. Doesn't really work in even at the office. It's a bit much. But very original, very cool, and absolutely beautiful piece. A bit thick, obviously, because of the need for the solid case back for the resonance, and it's quite a beautiful sound when it rings. It's a bit of a noisy watch. Not only the hammers of the alarm tend to click when you move the watch, click around, but also it's one of those master control watches. So really, it's a JLC Master Control Memovox International, and which means it's using the rotor spins on a sealed ball bearing. So it's good because it's friction-free, so less maintenance problems. But it will make quite a bit of noise. The rotor will make quite a bit of noise, like a zzz kind of noise. But yeah, cool watch. That wouldn't be your only watch unless you're a bit extravagant, I suppose. But on a daily basis, I think this watch could drive you a bit nuts. It has a bit of loom everywhere, not very thinly applied on the hour and minute hands, but you could use it at night and to have it wake you up with this alarm. So that's it for my JLC right now. I think you should always have a JLC in the collection. It's a great brand. And we finish with the queen of them all, the A Lange und Söhne. 1815 annual calendar. 1815, that's their line, which is more like a pocket watch version with the I mean, inspiration for the hands, the applied numerals, the three-quarter bridge on the back. Obviously beautiful finishing, and just a stunning watch front and back. It's white gold, so yes, this wasn't cheap, but it's the watch, but it wears very flat on the wrist. I really like the way it wears. It's practical, so if you let it run down for a few days, you have the pusher on the side to readjust the calendar, every element of the calendar, including the moon phase. And you have a small running seconds, heat blued hours and minutes, and yeah, you only need to adjust it on the 1st of March because it's just the annual calendar. Absolutely lovely, and I do wear it every day at the office, but it also wears great on casual Friday and on the weekend with jeans. And the strap, although it looks black, it's actually very dark blue, and so it works great as well if you're wearing a blue suit and maybe even a brown belt. It's still gonna marry quite well with the attire. So there you go, that's where I'm at. A couple of pieces have gone. I'm looking forward to add again Datejust to my collection. I sold mine. I really love the watch. It was a very personal choice to buy that one, but at the same time I felt it was a bit much, and I wanted to get something else in the collection. And also I sold the Patek, which was a bit too small, but I had it at a good price, you know. But I leveraged it to get the longer. I also look forward to get back a Patek. I'd like to get a rose gold one, maybe a simple one, or maybe, you know, if work treats me well, maybe annual or perpetual calendar. That would be absolutely fantastic to get. Maybe the 3940, any or 5146 annual. But even, yeah, a very simple one, hour time only, or maybe time and date. That would be great. Apart from that, from next year, I'm looking, you know, always look at the Rolex, but the prices are gonna go up tomorrow, apparently everywhere. So it's just getting a bit silly. But that's another discussion for another time. For now, let me know what you think about the collection as it is. It's always in movement, but right now I'm very fortunate, very happy with the watches I have, and the ones I wear the most are probably the longer at work, the Zenith here. Always use my Speedmaster at least one day, but usually when I put it on I just can't take it off. It just breaks your heart to remove your Speedmaster from the wrist. And I wear my Rolexes all the time, and the Omega is great for holidays. And yeah, I really, you know where I'm going with this. I wear them all. I really enjoy them all. All right, guys. I wish you a great New Year 2020. I hope all your horological dreams will come true. And I'll speak to you very soon. I have a few videos cooking, a few subjects that I want to talk about. Bye bye, guys. Take care.